Good morning. This is Bobby Dupree with the Bobby Dupree Show, presented to you each Thursday morning at 7 a.m. And, of course, the program replays on Friday morning at 7 a.m. and again on Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m. Now, we're talking about television and the internet service.
Correct.
Then on the radio, it's at 7 a.m. on Thursday morning, KSLO here in downtown Opelousas, and 105.3 out of Simpsport, Louisiana, a sister company that's owned by Delta Media out of Lafayette. And
Karen Crow Lafayette, I guess.
Karen Crow, Upper Lafayette. Upper Lafayette. Let's get the record straight there. Mr. Charles Chatelain. And
of course, on the internet, they can watch it not just live, but they can watch it archived. So if this week's show, if you liked it or heard about it, by Friday, you can get online and you can watch, like, the last 6 weeks worth of shows are all up on our internet site. You can watch any of those last 6 weeks, download pictures from our photo gallery, print them out, mail them to your friends, everything.
Right, and usually we have some pictures, and we have a number of pictures today. Not a whole lot, but we have a number of them. I was sitting at home Saturday afternoon, and I was watching LPB out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Miss Beth Courtney, who's the president of the local Baton Rouge chapter, I guess you'd say.
Been the president since she was a little girl.
Yeah, it looks like it. The only one I knew that I knew about. I guess I wasn't watching before, but anyhow, she's very effective. She was interviewing 4 people. She was lieutenant governors who have served and are still alive. And of course, one was Bobby Freeman, our boxing friend, and he was a lieutenant governor out of Plaquemine, Louisiana.
He used to have the commercial about his mama being a nurse and walking to work to help support them, if you remember.
Right. Melinda Schwagman, kind of forgot about Miss Melinda.
That was a short term.
Yeah, and she was also a lieutenant governor.
And that's in the shop, in the supermarket family as well, I guess so.
Yeah, her husband was John.
Right.
John Schwagman. I want to say John Schwagman was at he was one of the lieutenant governors. Oh, no, he was on the Public Service Commission.
Public Service, that's correct.
He was Public Service Commission. Paul Hardy, our own native out of the...
I'm nobody's man but yours.
The Cecilia, Orneville area. Still looks he's a handsome young man.
Oh, yeah.
Almost ran over me on a motorcycle crossing the Mississippi River Bridge. When we stopped, he followed me, and when we stopped at the Holiday Inn on 415 there, we talked, and he says, "Boy, that was close." I says, "I never perceived it," like my man would say, until your bumper was right into my motorcycle. But we didn't hit, and of course we remained friends. It was my fault. And then, of course, we have a person who was, well, first she was a state representative, then she became a public service commissioner, then she was lieutenant governor.
Right.
And finally, she was governor of the state of Louisiana, and I'm speaking of Kathleen Babineau Blanco. How about that? Real interesting. They each had a philosophy, and each one that succeeded the next kept getting more duties. At first, there was literally no duties assigned to the position.
Right.
Now they have some exact duties to serve, and they have a fund, and tourism, of course, is their big
I think Bobby Freeman was one of those guys that helped to start pushing the tourism concept, but I think Kathleen took it to the next level. I think Kathleen really made it where people started associating that position with that. And of course, we got 2 other living lieutenant governors now, right? We got the current serving one, Jay Darden.
Right.
And then we've got our friend, Mr. Angel.
Who was a temporary replacement in between.
Right. And of course, those guys are so active politically, I guess that's why they didn't show them on the show. The other 4 you talked about are pretty much not running for office anymore.
That's correct. And of course, Governor Blanco was recently diagnosed with eye cancer. That's the first person I ever heard.
That's a rare thing.
And they said the prognosis is good, so let's hope so. So keep your prayers in mind. Keep her in mind when you say your daily prayers.
Go see a real eye doctor. Don't just go buy them cheetahs. Go see a real eye doctor that can look in that eye and see, because that's how they got caught. I mean, that was the deal. Looked at the eye doctor. The eye doctor ran.
She says we all need to go, and I need to go see a doctor myself, because I'm using those cheetahs. That's why you're talking to me.
Well,
I know.
I'm reminding you.
You're right. No.
I went for years to Dr. Ken LaFleur, who just retired,
right?
And I got a new doctor lined up that I haven't visited yet, but I got one lined up. But Dr. LaFleur for years, took good care of my eyes and my kids.
I was speaking to a Rotary Club member, and I can't think of who it was, but he spoke about the gentleman that came that's with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and he's a project engineer, Ted. How you pronounce that?
I think it's Eltz. I think is how they say it.
E-I-L-T-S. Yeah. Eltz gave a very interesting story. The Corps of Engineers has really gotten a lot of credit for the non-flooding that has taken place in Louisiana. We can speak about Louisiana.
And I can say it. Nobody was harder on them than me during Katrina, and there's nobody I think has been a bigger cheerleader than for them during this process. I mean, they've done a good job.
They've finally closed the last of the Bonnet-Carré,
which is 300-something gates, 330 gates.
Right, and they'd opened 300 of them.
Yeah.
And on the Morganza, I think there's still one. And there's a reason, and
I think that's a political reason. I think you leave one open that way. If they have to reopen, there's not the big, it was a big event to open the first one before.
Yeah.
Like this, it's still open. If some more water comes down, it's not a big of event.
And I want to thank the local that assisted 3 Mile Lake Association in allowing us to build a levee across a little bayou that goes really the only place when it floods, it overflows into 3 Mile Lake. And they allowed us to build a temporary levee there.
And it's open to keep the lake stocked with water during drought times. So normally it's just an overflow, but this kind of overflow,
we couldn't have taken it.
You can't take it. You're not big enough.
It saved quite a number of people's property, and that's what they asked for. I was not in town when Vincent Wiltz got involved and worked with the Corps of Engineers. He has worked with them before, so he was the best man to speak to them and explain to them what we had in mind.
And don't forget about their participation in the little temporary levee they helped put around the Alon plant in Krotz Springs, and they help add to that ring levee.
Yeah, the 240 homes in that little area.
That's a huge, huge project that the Army Corps still has to sign off on now. DOT here and our parish were involved. My nephew Adam Norris that works with DOT was out there on those big old machines doing the whole thing out there with his whole huge crew, bringing those trucks out of Lafayette and everything. But it's the Army Corps that still has to sign off on anything water related.
And we have it in writing.
Let's get some sponsors.
Yes, sir.
How about, let's go with Mr. Benny. We'll hit Mr. Benny's supermarket right now, and he tells you can cool off with some cool deals. Of course, they've got great fruit right now. If you go in there, if you like red plums and black plums, like I go in that the best of the best every year in the produce department. The salads, the fruit, all that kind of things. Go in the meat department, you get already seasoned meat stuffed and ready to rock and roll for you. If you want to just buy that big old roast and stuff it yourself, they got that as well at Mr. Benny's Supermarket. 7 days a week, they've got plate dinners. They've got catering for any occasion. That's from them showing up with the white coats, or maybe all you're doing is having a party to get together on the weekend where you want to pick up some chicken wings or whatever in a big thing. They do that. 7 days a week, plate dinners. They got Little Benny Sports Shack. I know a lot of the kids right now are working out, getting ready for football season this summer. They work out, big weight training program. You get all the nutritional supplements there. And Miss Mary's gift shop as well as Benny's Supermarket.
You gonna get another
one?
Oh,
I sure can. How about Carl's Thrifty Way? If you need some medicinal type things, get your prescription filled. Over-the-counter type medications, home decorating ideas, gift wrapping and monogramming. It's a full-blown old-timey type drugstore where you go in, you get your drugs, you get your gifts. You can take the time to visit with people. You could meet up with folks. They'll even come out to your house and do some of the home decorating ideas for you as well at Carl's. And their pharmacists have time to sit down and answer those questions that you have about your different medicines. You know, my stomach wants to be a little bit irritated. Am I supposed to drink milk with this thing? You know, am I supposed to drive with this? They can help you, and they can compound multiple prescriptions to make it easier for you to take it. Carl's Thrifty Way.
Devery Henderson will be presenting skills, drills, and a free football camp this Saturday, and that's going to be June 25th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. ages 10 through 14 at the Opelousas High School. You can call or go by the high school and pick up an application so you can be all registered and get right into the workout program. And
the coach you can call for more information is Coach Keith Washington, and that number is 309-2089. He can help you out. Now, I also understand that this weekend Marvin White, who played with Port Barry High, is having a camp as well. I don't have those numbers, but you probably can call the school board and they'll pass you that number as well if you're a Port Barry kid trying to go to it's Devery's first camp. I think he's had here back at his alma mater.
It is.
And Marvin's having his first camp.
No,
I think
it's not his second.
Oh, is it his second?
I want to say it could be his second. I think, but
two great kids giving back
to the community that helped them. And on July the 2nd, which is not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, the Blades Total Boxing Gym, which is out of Crowley, Louisiana, is going to be putting live amateur boxing, sponsored and under the direction of the Southern Association. And it's going to be held at the historic Rice Theater, which we've spoken a number of times. On Parkinson and Crowley.
The main drag.
And the gates will open, the doors will open at 5 p.m. The first bouts will be at 6 p.m. And it's very reasonable price. Children 12 and under is $7. Adults is $10 for a good evening, a good clean. These kids give it all. Amateur boxing at its best.
Dixie Storage, all your storage needs, personal and commercial. Maybe you're putting some stuff aside with all this flooding and different issues that have gone on. You're moving things around. Maybe kids are going to school this summer. Dixie Storage can put those things together for you. If it's big commercial type business, if he has to get off a railroad spur, they've got access to that. They've got huge warehouses with loading docks. They've got forklifts. They do inventory control for big businesses as well at Dixie Storage. Don't forget their sister companies. They've got A-Plus Glass here in Opelousas and as well in Lafayette. That'll do everything from car windows, from the little bitty cars up to the 18-wheelers with inspections. They'll do your home glass. They'll do your commercial glass as well.
Dupree Carrier Got Y'all is having another one. I think they do 2 blood drives a year. Thursday, June 23rd. In other words, today is from 1 to 4 p.m. The Bloodmobile will be there at Dupree Carrier Got Y'all, and that's at the office on West Landry Street.
And you'll see a huge bus parked right out in front if you go down the main drag.
And all donors will receive a sling backpack. How about that? Instead of a T-shirt, a little bit better gifts this year.
KSLO will see you on the other side of 3.
In addition, when you sign up online by appointment, you will automatically receive 100 points in our donor rewards program. And that would be, who's putting this on?
Well, it says Dupree Carrier. I'm sure. Yeah. I will say it's our friend Seal, just making sure. She does that twice a year. Yeah. Miss Seal over
has been. Thanks, Seal. It's a very worthwhile program.
And I got a note Sunday night, at the Hyman Performing Arts Center, PASA sponsoring Vince Gill, who's won 18 different country music awards, 15-time Grammy winner, 4-time Academy of Country Music Award winner. I mean, highly awarded guy. And everybody knows Vince Gill. He got that very sweet voice. You can go by and get tickets. I think they still have tickets on sale. Of course, the Hyman Arts Center is a little bitty place comparatively, so when you sit in that place, if they tell you all they got is balcony left, buy them. Great place to hear a good intimate little concert.
This past Saturday, went over to Lafayette to visit my 2 brothers. We went and visited with Cody and Wilder, and of course they're doing real well. We had a nice, Cody treated me to dinner.
Cool. Go ahead, Cody.
Over at the Village Cafe.
That's what big brothers do.
That's right. Our own Jude Tozan, originally from Opelousas, married to a little girl from Opelousas, Miss Elizabeth.
Right.
And when we got back, well, when we went to the, by the way, the Village Cafe is in River Ranch. Great food, great atmosphere. And when I was leaving out, I saw one of our long time friends. He and I go back to amateur boxing, professional boxing. And of course, he's, I guess, one of the best known attorneys in Southwest Louisiana. I'm speaking of Glenn Armentor. He and his beautiful wife were sitting there. We visited. I kind of picked at him a little bit, but we won't get into that on the program. But good morning to you, Glenn. And then when I arrived back at Cody's house, I walked over to John's, 2 houses a port, and there was a young man named Tim Hamilton. When I walked up, he says, "Good morning, Mr. Bobby," and I said,
"Welcome back, KSLO.
I don't think I recognize you. I'm sorry."